Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered, weak and weary, over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore. While I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "This some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. Only this, and nothing more.
These are the opening lines of Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven, one of the most famous poems ever written. But behind this beautiful rhythm is a dark story about grief, madness, and one terrifying word, nevermore. The Raven was published in 1845. It tells the story of a lonely man sitting in his room at midnight. He is grieving a woman named Lenore, and he tries to escape his sadness by reading old books. But then he hears a mysterious tapping. At first, he thinks it is a visitor. Soon, he realizes something much stranger has entered his room.
Eagerly I wished the morrow, vainly I had sought to borrow from my book surcease of sorrow, sorrow for the lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels name Lenore, nameless here for evermore.
These lines tell us the real reason the narrator is suffering. He has lost Lenore, a woman he loved deeply. He is not just scared because of the tapping. He is already emotionally broken before the Raven even arrives. This is important because the poem is not only about a mysterious bird. It is about a grieving mind slowly losing control.
Open here I flung the shutter, when, with many a flirt and flutter, in there stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore. Not the least obeisance made he, not a minute stopped or stayed he, but with mien of lord or lady, perched above my chamber door, perched upon a bust of Pallas, just above my chamber door, perched and sat, and nothing more.
This is the first appearance of the Raven. It does not act like a normal frightened bird. It enters with confidence and sits above the narrator's door like it owns the room. The Raven lands on a bust of Pallas, which represents wisdom. This is symbolic. Darkness and despair are now sitting above wisdom and reason.
Tell me what thy lordly name is on the night's Plutonian shore. Quoth the Raven, nevermore.
This is the first time the Raven says the word nevermore. At first, the narrator is surprised but also amused. He thinks maybe the bird learned this word from a previous owner. But as the poem continues, this one word becomes more painful. The narrator starts asking questions about his future, his grief, and Lenore, and every answer is the same, nevermore. The word nevermore is terrifying because it means finality. It means something is gone forever. No hope, no return, no healing. The Raven may not understand what it is saying. It may simply be repeating one word, but the narrator gives that word meaning. This is what makes the poem psychologically powerful. The Raven might not be torturing him. The narrator may be torturing himself by asking questions he already fears the answer to.
Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still if bird or devil, whether tempter sent, or whether tempest tossed thee here ashore, desolate yet all undaunted, on this desert land enchanted, on this home by horror haunted, tell me truly, I implore. Is there balm in Gilead? Tell me, I implore. Quoth the Raven, nevermore.
Here the narrator stops seeing the Raven as just a bird. He calls it a prophet, a thing of evil, maybe even a messenger from the devil. He asks if there is balm in Gilead, which means he is asking if there is any healing for his pain, and the Raven answers, nevermore. This is the moment where grief turns into despair.
Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still if bird or devil. By that heaven that bends above us, by that God we both adore, tell this soul with sorrow laden, if within the distant Aidenn it shall clasp a sainted maiden, whom the angels name Lenore. Clasp a rare and radiant maiden, whom the angels name Lenore. Quoth the Raven, nevermore.
This is the most painful question in the poem. The narrator asks if he will ever see Lenore again in heaven. And the Raven says, nevermore. Whether the Raven truly knows the answer does not matter. What matters is that the narrator believes it. The word destroys his final hope.
And the Raven, never flitting, still is sitting, on the pallid bust of Pallas, just above my chamber door. And his eyes have all the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming. and the lamplight o'er him, streaming, throws his shadow on the floor. And my soul from out, that shadow that lies floating on the floor, shall be lifted nevermore.
The poem ends with the raven still sitting above the door. It never leaves. The raven's shadow falls across the floor, and the narrator says his soul will never be lifted from that shadow. This means he believes he will never escape his grief. The horror of the poem is not physical. The raven does not attack him. There is no monster chasing him. The real horror is inside his mind. He is trapped by memory, sadness, and hopelessness. The raven is powerful because it turns grief into horror. The raven may be supernatural, or it may just be a normal bird, but to the narrator, it becomes a symbol of death, memory, and despair. Poe uses rhythm, repetition, and the haunting word, nevermore, to show how the human mind can become trapped in its own pain. That is why this poem is still remembered today, not because it is only about a raven, but because it is about a feeling many people fear, losing someone forever and never being able to move on. If you enjoy timeless literature brought to life through immersive storytelling, consider subscribing. There are many more stories waiting to be explored.